The space station around Mars looked like a giant metal flower floating in the dark. Ambassador Kang Do-yun stood at the big window in the main meeting room and watched the alien ship get closer. It was his first time meeting a completely new, alien race, and his hands felt a little wet with sweat. The ship was strange and beautiful. It looked like someone had carved it from black stone, with sharp edges that seemed to cut through space itself. Red lights blinked along its sides like angry eyes. Do-hyun had read all the files about these aliens called the Velthani, but seeing their ship made everything feel very real. Park Min-ho walked up next to him. Min-ho was the head of security for the station, and he always looked calm even when things got scary. Today he wore his best uniform, dark blue with silver buttons that caught the light from the stars. "They are almost here," Min-ho said in his quiet voice. "The docking will happen in 10 minutes. Do-hyun nodded and looked around the room. Everything had to be perfect for this meeting. The long table was made of real wood from Earth, something very expensive to bring all the way to Mars. Fresh flowers sat in the middle, also from Earth. The human flag hung on one wall, and they had made space for the Velthani flag too, once they got one. Kim Nari was checking her computer screens one more time. She was the smartest person on the station when it came to alien life, and she had studied everything they knew about the Velthani. Her long black hair was pulled back tight, and she wore her lucky red jacket. "Their ship is really big," she said, to Do-hyun. "Much bigger than we expected. I think they brought a lot of people." Lee Ji-hye was testing her translation equipment. She could speak 17 different languages, and her computer could translate almost any alien language they had met so far. But the Velthani language was new and she looked worried. "I hope this works right," Ji-hye said, holding up a small silver device. "Their language has sounds that humans cannot make. The computer will have to do most of the talking for us." The station shook a little as the alien ship connected to their docking port. Everyone in the room stood up straight and tried to look important. Do-hyun had been an ambassador for 12 years, but his heart was still beating fast. Heavy footsteps echoed in the hallway outside. The sound was different from human footsteps, heavier and slower. The door opened with a soft hiss and the first Velthani walked into the room. Do-hyun had seen pictures, but meeting one in real life was something else. The alien was tall, maybe 8 feet high, with dark blue skin that looked like leather. Its face was long and narrow, with 4 yellow eyes that blinked one at a time. It wore clothes that looked like armor made from metal scales, and each step made a small clicking sound on the floor. More Velthani followed the first one into the room. There were 6 of them total, all wearing the same kind of scale armor. The one in front had more decorations on its armor, bright silver patterns that looked like lightning bolts. "I am Thexara," the lead alien said. Its voice came from the translation device, sounding like a human voice but with a strange echo. "I speak for all Velthani in this part of the galaxy. You are the humans who want to join our alliance." Do-hyun stepped forward and made a small bow, the way he had practiced. "I am Ambassador Kang Do-hyun. We are very happy to meet you and learn about your people." Thexara made a sound that might have been laughing, but it sounded more like metal, scraping on stone. "Happy. Yes, we will see how happy you are when you learn what you must do." The aliens sat down at the table, but they were so big that the chairs looked like toys under them. Minho signaled to some human workers who quickly brought bigger chairs from storage. "Tell us about your alliance," Do-hyun said when everyone was sitting. "We want to understand how it works." Thexara leaned forward, and its 4 eyes all focused on Do-hyun at the same time. "The Velthani have been the strongest hunters in this galaxy for thousands of your years. We have defeated every dangerous creature on dozens of worlds. Other alien races join us because we protect them from things they cannot fight." Another Velthani, this one with red patterns on its armor, spoke up. "But first, they must prove they are not weak. They must show they can survive when facing real danger." Kim Nari looked interested. "What kind of test do you give them?" Thexara stood up and walked to the big window. It looked out at the red planet Mars spinning slowly below them. Every world has predators, creatures that hunt and kill. Most aliens can handle the small ones, the ones that eat plants or tiny animals. But every world also has apex predators. Apex predators? Jihye asked, making sure her translator was working right. The ultimate hunters, Thexara said, and its voice got quieter, like it was talking about something sacred. The creatures that fear nothing. The ones that kill not just for food but because they are perfect killing machines. Every species must prove they can face such a creature and not run away in terror. The room got very quiet. Do-hyun could hear the soft hum of the space station's air system and the distant sound of people working in other parts of the station. What happens if a species cannot pass this test? Minho asked. The red-patterned Velthani answered. Then they are too weak to survive in the galaxy. We do not make alliances with species that would only slow us down or need constant protection. Thexara turned back to face the humans. Your species is very young. You have only been traveling in space for a short time. You have no natural weapons, no armor, no enhanced senses that we can see. You look like creatures that eat plants and run from anything dangerous. Do-hyun felt his face get hot, but he kept his voice calm. Looks can be deceiving. Humans have survived on Earth for a very long time. Earth, Thexara said the name like it was something funny. We have studied your world from far away. It seems like a peaceful place, lots of water and green plants. Very comfortable. When will this test happen? Nari asked. Thexara's four eyes blinked in a pattern that might have been a smile. Soon. We have brought one of our world's apex predators with us. It is contained in our ship waiting. The humans all looked at each other. This was not what they had expected from first contact with a new alien race. Tell us about this creature, Do-hyun said. Thexara walked back to the table and pressed something on its armor. A holographic image appeared above the table, showing a creature that made several humans gasp. The creature in the image was big, nearly as tall as a human, with a long, powerful body covered in tan and brown fur. Its legs were thick with muscle, and its paws had long, curved claws. Its head was round with small ears and large eyes that seemed to see everything. When it opened its mouth, sharp white teeth filled its jaws. This is the apex predator of our world, Thexara said with pride, in its voice. We call it the Vorthak. It can jump farther than any creature should be able to jump. It can see in complete darkness. It can climb straight up cliff walls. Its claws can cut through most metals. Its bite can crush bones to powder. The hologram showed the creature in action, leaping incredible distances, climbing trees with impossible speed, taking down prey much larger than itself. Most importantly, Thexara continued, it is smart. It plans its attacks. It waits for the perfect moment. It never gives up once it has chosen a target. Even trained Velthani warriors approach the Vorthak with great caution and powerful weapons. Do-hyun looked around the table at his team. Minho's face showed no expression, which meant he was thinking hard about security. Nari was staring at the hologram with fascination. Jihye was taking notes on her computer, and her fingers were shaking a little. When do we meet this creature? Do-hyun asked. Tomorrow, Thexara said. We will travel to your world's surface. You will enter an enclosed area with the Vorthak. If you can survive for 1 hour without running away or calling for help, your species passes the test. And if we fail? Thexara made that scraping sound again. Then the Vorthak feeds, and we look for a more worthy species to join our alliance. The morning sun was just starting to shine over the Canadian Rocky Mountains when the Velthani transport ship landed at the first contact facility. The ship was smaller than their main vessel, but it still made the ground shake when it touched, down on the landing pad. Choi Sung-min stood outside the main building and watched the alien ship settle into place with a loud hiss of steam. As the facility director, he had to make sure everything went perfectly today. The building behind him was new, built just for meetings with alien species, with the strongest walls and the best equipment that Earth could make. The Velthani had been very specific about what they needed for their test. The facility had to have a large enclosed area, at least 100 meters across, with walls strong enough to contain their apex predator. They had also demanded that no human weapons be allowed anywhere near the test area. Yoon Subin was setting up monitoring equipment near the landing pad. She was the leader of the research team, and she wanted to record everything that happened during the test. Her assistant Han Woo-sung was helping her carry the cameras and sensors that would track every movement. "The containment field is ready," Subin said to Sungmin, "but I still do not understand why they need such powerful barriers for one animal." Sungmin watched the door of the alien ship open with a grinding sound. "They say this creature is the most dangerous thing on their homeworld. We should take that seriously." The same 6 Velthani from the space station walked down the ramp from their ship. Texara was still in the lead, its silver lightning patterns shining in the morning light. The other aliens carried strange devices that looked like weapons, but also like scientific instruments. Behind them came 4 more Velthani, these ones wearing different armor that was thicker and had more protection. They moved carefully, like they were guarding something very dangerous. "Greetings, Director Sungmin," Texara said through its translator. "Is your facility prepared for the test?" Sungmin nodded. "Everything is ready as you requested. The containment area is active and tested." "Good. We must prepare the hunting ground properly. This creature requires specific conditions to show its true nature." The Velthani began unloading equipment from their ship. Most of it looked like advanced technology, but some items looked almost primitive, like rocks and pieces of dead wood. Lim Hyeji watched them work with great interest. Hyeji was a wildlife biologist who had studied dangerous animals all over Earth. She had been called to the facility because the humans wanted an expert on predators to observe the test. She had spent the previous night reading every file about the Velthani apex predator, and she was very curious to see it in person. "Those look like environmental props," she said to Ko Taewon, who was standing next to her. Taewon was a park ranger who had worked in the Canadian wilderness for 20 years. He had dealt with every dangerous animal that lived in North America, from bears to wolves to mountain lions. The facility had asked him to come as a consultant because of his experience with real predators. "They are trying to make it feel at home," Taewon said, watching the aliens arrange fake rocks and dead trees in the containment area. "Smart. A stressed predator behaves differently than one that feels comfortable." The Velthani worked for 2 hours setting up their environment. They created small caves using artificial rocks, placed dead logs for climbing, and even spread different types of dirt and sand across the floor. When they were finished, the containment area looked like a piece of their homeworld. Dr. Nam Young-ho arrived just as the aliens were finishing their preparations. He was one of Earth's most famous wildlife conservationists, and he had asked to observe the test because he was interested in alien evolution. He carried a small bag of equipment for studying animal behavior. "Impressive setup," Young-ho said to the other humans. "They really understand how environment affects predator behavior." Im Da-hyun was checking her medical equipment one more time. As a veterinarian, she was there in case anyone got hurt during the test. She had studied the files about the Velthani creature, and she had prepared treatments for the kinds of injuries it might cause. "The bite force numbers in their data are very high," Da-hyun said quietly to the other humans. "If this thing gets hold of someone, they will need surgery very quickly." Texara walked over to the group of humans, its 4 eyes focused on each person one by one like it was judging them. "The hunting ground is prepared," the alien announced. "Now we must bring forth the Vorthak." The Velthani guards moved to a large container that they had unloaded from their ship. The container was made of black metal and had warning symbols all over its surface. Red lights blinked on its sides and it made a soft humming sound. "Before we release the apex predator," Texara said, "you must understand what you are about to face. The Vorthak is not just dangerous because of its physical abilities. It is dangerous because it is intelligent." Song Min-sok, a former park ranger who now worked as a diplomat, stepped forward. "How intelligent?" "It can solve problems. It can plan attacks that take hours to execute. It can remember enemies and hunt them down days later. It learns from every encounter and becomes more dangerous." Texara pressed something on its armor and a new holographic display appeared. This one showed the creature stalking through dark forests, waiting motionless for hours before attacking, and even using tools like rocks to knock prey out of trees. No Velthani hunter ever approaches a Vorthak alone, Thexara continued. We use teams of warriors with advanced weapons, and still many do not survive. Bei Hyunwoo, a zoologist who studied predator behavior, was taking notes on his computer. What does it hunt in the wild? Everything, another Velthani answered. It prefers large prey, but it will kill anything that enters its territory. It has been known to attack creatures 10 times its own size. The humans exchanged glances. This was starting to sound more serious than they had expected. The test is simple, Thexara announced. 1 human must enter the containment area with the Vorthak. You must survive for 1 hour. You may move around and try to avoid the creature, but you cannot leave the area and you cannot call for help. What if the person gets badly hurt? Da-Yun asked. Then they fail the test and we will intervene to save their life if possible. But calling for help means failure for your entire species. Shin Yunwoo, a documentary filmmaker, was recording everything with her cameras. She had made films about dangerous animals all over Earth, but this was her first time filming an alien predator. Which human will take the test? She asked. The humans had already discussed this on the way to the facility. Ambassador Kang Do-Yun had volunteered, but Park Min-ho had insisted that it should be someone with experience handling dangerous animals. In the end, they had decided that Ko Tae-won would take the test, since he had the most experience with large predators. I will do it, Tae-won said, stepping forward. Thexara looked at him with all 4 eyes. You are very small compared to our warriors. Are you certain? I have dealt with dangerous animals before. I am ready. The Velthani guards began opening the container. They moved very slowly and carefully, like they were handling explosives. Steam hissed out of the opening, and a strange smell filled the air, like wet fur and something wild. Behold, Thexara said dramatically, the apex predator of our world. The container opened completely, and the creature inside stepped out into the containment area. Every human present stopped breathing for a moment. The Vorthak was exactly like the holograms had shown, but seeing it in real life was different. It was big, nearly 2 meters long, with thick muscles under its tan and brown fur. Its paws were huge, with curved black claws that clicked on the ground. Its head was round and powerful, with small ears that moved constantly, listening for sounds. But what struck the humans most was how familiar it looked. Ko Tae-won was the first to speak, and his voice was very quiet. That is a mountain lion. The other humans stared at the creature. It was walking around the containment area, sniffing the air and exploring its new environment. It moved with the fluid grace of a big cat, its long tail twitching as it investigated the artificial rocks and logs. A very large mountain lion, Lim Hyeji added, but definitely a mountain lion. Dr. Nam Young-ho stepped closer to the containment field. The proportions are almost identical. The body structure, the way it moves, even the facial features. Me. Da-Yun was comparing the live creature to images on her computer. The musculature is the same. The paw structure, the retractable claws, the dental arrangement. This is a big cat, just like the ones we have on Earth. The Velthani were watching. The humans' reactions with confusion. They had expected fear, or at least respect for such a dangerous predator. Instead, the humans seemed almost disappointed. You do not seem properly afraid, Thexara said with concern in its translated voice. An Ji-won, a wilderness survival instructor, laughed quietly. I have taught children how to deal with these animals. You make noise, wave your arms to look bigger, and back away slowly. Most of the time, they just want to be left alone. The Vorthak had found a sunny spot in the containment area and was lying down to rest just like any cat would do. Its eyes were half closed, and it was making a soft rumbling sound. Is it purring? Song Min-seok asked in amazement. It appears to be, Dr. Young-ho confirmed. Dr. Nam Young-ho walked slowly toward the containment field, his hands relaxed at his sides. The other humans watched him with interest, but the Velthani seemed shocked by his calm behavior. What are you doing? Thexara demanded through its translator. That creature could kill you in seconds. Young-ho stopped just outside the energy barrier that kept the Vorthak contained. The big cat was still lying in its sunny spot, but its ears had turned toward the sound of voices. Its yellow eyes opened, fully and focused on the human approaching. "I want to observe its behavior more closely," Young-ho said in a quiet voice. "This is a very interesting specimen." The Vorthak stood up slowly and stretched, the way cats do when they wake up from a nap. It was a beautiful animal, Young-ho thought, with perfect proportions and fluid movements. Its fur was thick and healthy, and its muscles moved smoothly under its coat. "Dr. Young-ho," Im Da-yoon called from behind him. "Be careful. Even if it looks like our mountain lions, it might behave differently." But Young-ho was already studying the creature's body language. Its ears were forward, showing curiosity rather than aggression. Its tail was relaxed, not twitching with hunting excitement. Its eyes were alert but not focused in the intense way of a predator about to attack. "It is behaving exactly like a mountain lion," he said to the others, curious about the new human, but not threatened or aggressive. The Vorthak walked closer to the containment field, moving with the silent grace that all big cats possess. When it was just a few meters away from Young-ho, it sat down and began grooming itself, licking one large paw and rubbing it over its face. Taewon laughed out loud. "I have seen this exact behavior hundreds of times. This is just a big mountain lion." Thexara was clearly disturbed by the human's reaction. "You do not understand. The Vorthak is the ultimate predator. It has killed more Velthani warriors than any other creature." "How big are your warriors?" Lim Hyeji asked. "We stand 8 feet tall and weigh 3 times what you humans weigh." Hyeji nodded thoughtfully. "That explains it. To your people, this would be a very dangerous predator. But humans evolved alongside big cats. We have been dealing with creatures like this for millions of years." Im Da-yoon pulled up images on her portable computer and showed them to the Velthani. "Look at these animals from Earth. This is a mountain lion very similar to your Vorthak. This is a leopard also very similar. Here is a jaguar and here is a tiger." The aliens stared at the images with growing alarm. Each picture showed big cats that were clearly related to their apex predator, and some were even larger. "You have multiple apex predators on your world?" the red-armored Velthani asked. "These are not apex predators," Song Min-suk corrected. "These are just large carnivores. We have much more dangerous animals than these." Bae Hyunwoo was taking detailed notes on his computer. "From a zoological perspective, your Vorthak appears to be an almost perfect example of convergent evolution. The same environmental pressures that created our big cats seem to have created your species." "Convergent evolution?" Thexara asked. "When different worlds develop similar animals because they fill similar roles in the ecosystem," Dr. Young-ho explained. "Your Vorthak evolved to hunt medium to large prey in forest environments just like our mountain lions." The Vorthak had finished grooming and was now walking around the perimeter of the containment area, clearly testing the boundaries of its prison. It moved silently, placing each paw carefully, and its head turned constantly as it examined every part of its surroundings. "Look at that behavior," An Ji-won said. "It is mapping the territory, looking for escape routes and hunting opportunities. Textbook big cat behavior." "You speak as if you are familiar with such creatures," Thexara said, and there was something like worry in its translated voice. "Very familiar," Ji-won replied. "I teach wilderness survival courses. Part of my job is teaching people how to avoid conflicts with large predators like this." "You teach people to fight apex predators?" "Not fight. Avoid. Most big cats do not want to attack humans unless they are cornered or protecting their young. You make yourself look large, you speak in a firm voice, and you back away slowly. Most of the time they will just leave." Shin Yunwoo was recording everything with her cameras. "I have filmed mountain lions in the wild many times. They are beautiful animals, but they are not unstoppable killing machines." "What do you mean?" another Velthani asked. "Mountain lions are ambush predators," Ko Taewon explained. "They rely on surprise and stealth. If you see them coming, they usually give up and look for easier prey." The Vorthak had completed its circuit of the containment area and was now sitting in the center, watching the humans and aliens with intelligent eyes. Its tail flicked occasionally, the only sign that it was paying attention to the conversation. "It is a beautiful animal," Dr. Young-ho said. "Very well adapted for its environment. But it is just a big cat." "Just a big cat," Thexara repeated, and the translator could not hide the shock in its voice. "We have rangers who deal with problem mountain lions all the time," Song Minsok said. "When they get too close to towns or hiking areas, we tranquilize them and move them to new locations." "Tranquilize?" "We shoot them with darts that make them sleep," Im Da-yoon explained. "Then we can safely transport them without hurting them." "You capture apex predators alive?" "All the time. It is much better than killing them. Mountain lions are actually quite rare now because humans hunted too many of them in the past." The Velthani exchanged glances that the humans could not interpret. Their four eyes blinked in patterns that might have been some form of communication. "You hunted creatures like the Vorthak?" Thexara asked. "Our ancestors did," Lim Hyeji confirmed. "With primitive weapons too, just spears and arrows. But we realized we were making them extinct, so now we protect them instead." "Extinct?" "Gone forever. No more left alive anywhere." Bae Hyunwoo pulled up more images on his computer. "Humans have driven many large predators to extinction. Saber-toothed cats, giant bears, massive wolves. We were very good at hunting. But now we try to save the ones that are left," Dr. Young-ho added quickly. "We have learned that every species is important for the balance of nature." The Vorthak yawned, showing its impressive teeth, then lay down again in its sunny spot. It seemed completely relaxed now, as if it had decided that the humans and aliens were not interesting enough to worry about. "In your test," Ko Tae-won said to Thexara, "am I allowed to make noise?" "What kind of noise? Shouting, clapping, that sort of thing?" "I suppose so, but why would you want to make noise near an apex predator?" "Because noise usually makes them leave. Big cats do not like loud sounds or sudden movements." An Ji-won nodded in agreement. "The first thing we teach in survival courses is that most predators will avoid humans if they know humans are there. Most children in areas where mountain lions live are taught how to deal with them," Shin Yun-woo added. "It is just basic safety, like looking both ways before crossing a street." "Children?" The word came from several Velthani at once. "Small humans," Im Da-hyun explained. "They learned these things in school." The silence that followed was very long. The Velthani stood perfectly still, their four eyes focused on the humans with what looked like a mixture of confusion and growing alarm. "Let me understand," Thexara said finally. "You teach your young to face creatures like the Vorthak?" "We teach them to avoid conflicts," Ko Tae-won corrected. "But yes, children who live in mountain lion territory learn how to behave if they encounter one. And this works? Most of the time. Mountain lion attacks on humans are very rare." Dr. Young-ho was still watching the Vorthak through the containment field. "This particular animal seems very calm. It has good body condition, healthy fur, clear eyes. It is probably not hungry, which means it is less likely to see humans as prey." "How can you tell it is not hungry?" Thexara asked. "Its behavior." "Hungry?" "Predators move differently, more focused and alert. This one is relaxed." Bae Hyunwoo was making notes about the creature's anatomy. "The muscle development suggests it is used to taking large prey, probably animals similar in size to your people. That would make it very dangerous to Velthani, but humans are smaller and faster." "Faster?" "Mountain lions are built for short bursts of speed and power, not long chases. A healthy human can often outrun them over long distances." Lim Hyeji pulled up a video on her computer. "Look at this. This is footage of a mountain lion that wandered into a neighborhood. Watch how the wildlife officers handle it." The video showed two humans in uniforms calmly approaching a mountain lion that was hiding under a car. They used long poles to guide it toward an open cage, speaking in quiet voices the whole time. The cat hissed and snarled, but eventually walked into the cage on its own. "They are not wearing armor," one of the Velthani observed. "No need," Ko Tae-won said. "They know how the animal behaves, so they can predict what it will do." "This is completely different from how Velthani handle the Vorthak," Thexara said quietly. "Different species, different methods," Dr. Young-ho replied. What works for us might not work for you, and what works for you might not work for us. The Vorthak stood up and stretched again, then began walking toward the part of the containment area closest to the humans. It moved with no sign of aggression, just curiosity about the strange creatures watching it. The Velthani delegation stood in stunned silence for several long moments. Their ultimate predator, the creature that had terrified their species for thousands of years, was being discussed by humans the same way someone might talk about a neighbor's pet cat. Thexera finally broke the silence. If the Vorthak is not dangerous to your species, then what do humans consider to be a true threat? Dr. Kwan Seram stepped forward. She was the head of Earth's xenobiology program, and she had been quiet during the discussion about the Vorthak, but now she looked very serious. That is a good question, she said. Would you like to see some of Earth's actually dangerous creatures? Yes, Thexara said immediately. Show us what apex predators look like on your world. Seram pulled out a portable holographic projector and set it on a nearby table. The first image that appeared made several Velthani step backward. This is a box jellyfish, she said calmly. It is about the size of a human head and it floats in the ocean. Its tentacles contain enough venom to kill 60 adult humans in 4 minutes. The hologram showed a translucent creature that looked almost like it was made of glass. Long, thin tentacles trailed behind it as it moved through the water. It is nearly invisible in the water, Seram continued. Humans who swim in areas where box jellyfish live can be stung without ever seeing what attacked them. How do you fight such a creature? The red-armored Velthani asked. You do not fight it. You try very hard not to touch it. Even tiny pieces of its tentacles can kill you. The next image showed a small, colorful creature sitting on a rock. This is a blue-ringed octopus, Seram said. It is smaller than a human hand, but its bite contains venom that causes complete muscle paralysis. There is no cure. The victim stays awake and aware while their body shuts down. Zhang Donghyun, a marine biologist, joined the presentation. The ocean has many creatures that are far more dangerous than any land predator. We have sharks that can bite a human in half, jellyfish with stings worse than acid burns, and sea snakes with venom that kills in minutes. He activated his own projector, showing images of massive great white sharks, their mouths full of triangular teeth like knives. This great white shark is 6 meters long and weighs over 2,000 kilograms. It can swim faster than most boats and bite with the force of a car crusher. The Velthani were staring at the images with obvious distress. Their 4 eyes blinked rapidly, which the humans had learned was a sign of extreme anxiety. But the ocean. Creatures are not the most dangerous, Oh Soo-young said. She was an entomologist, someone who studied insects, and her area of expertise was even more disturbing to the aliens. The most dangerous creatures on Earth are often the smallest ones, she said, projecting an image of what looked like a normal ant. This is a bullet ant. Its sting causes pain so severe that humans who experience it say it feels like being shot with a bullet. The pain lasts for 24 hours and is so intense that it can cause people to become unconscious. She showed more images. Wasps the size of small birds, spiders with fangs like needles, and beetles that could spray acid from their bodies. Many of Earth's insects and spiders have venom that can kill humans quickly. Some are so small you cannot see them clearly, but their bite means death. The Velthani were now making soft sounds that their translators could not interpret. They seemed to be having trouble understanding how humans could survive on a world filled with such creatures. Ryu Jinwan stepped forward next. He was a behavioral ecologist who studied how species interact with their environment. But none of these are the most dangerous threat to humans, he said quietly. What could be worse? Thexera asked, and its translated voice sounded weak. Other humans, Jinwan said simply. The aliens looked confused, so he explained further. Humans are persistence hunters. We evolved to chase prey for days without stopping until it collapsed from exhaustion. We have the best long-distance running ability of any species on Earth. He showed images of human marathon runners, their faces showing the intense determination needed to run for hours without rest. But more than that, humans are social hunters. We work together in groups. We make plans that can take months to execute, and we never give up. When humans decide something needs to die, it usually dies. We are also tool users, added Wan Mi-young, a historian who specialized in human conflict. Humans have been making weapons for millions of years. First rocks and sticks, then spears, and arrows, then guns and explosives. She showed images of human weapons throughout history, from simple stone axes to modern military equipment. Humans have fought wars against each other for thousands of years. We have developed ways to kill that are more efficient than anything any predator could imagine. The Velthani were now clearly distressed. Several of them were making the scraping, sounds that seemed to indicate fear. But surely, Thexara said desperately, there are creatures on your world that humans fear? Creatures that you cannot defeat? The humans looked at each other. This was the question they had been hoping the aliens would ask. There is one type of creature that has killed more humans than all the others combined, Dr. Kwan Seram said slowly. Show us, Thexara demanded. Seram adjusted her projector to show an image that looked like nothing at all, just a small round dot against a white background. This is a virus, she said. It is not even truly alive. It is just genetic material, wrapped in protein. It is thousands of times smaller than the smallest insect. She zoomed in on the image, showing the complex structure of the tiny organism. Viruses invade human cells and force them to make copies of the virus instead of doing their normal jobs. Some viruses kill quickly, some kill slowly, and some hide in the body for years before becoming deadly. Bacteria are similar, Im-Da-hyun added, showing images of various microscopic organisms. They are slightly larger than viruses, but still invisible to human eyes. Some bacteria can kill a healthy human in hours. How do you fight creatures you cannot see? A Velthani asked. Very carefully, Seram replied. We have developed medicines that can kill bacteria, and vaccines that help our bodies fight viruses. But new ones appear all the time. The worst part, Da-hyun continued, is that these microscopic predators hunt us from the inside. They turn our own bodies against us. Ryu Jinwan projected a new image showing human cities from above. This is why humans live in groups. We survive by working together, sharing knowledge, and taking care of each other when we get sick. But humans have not just survived these threats, Wan Mi-young said. We have conquered most of them. She showed images of human hospitals, research laboratories, and medical equipment. We have eliminated diseases that once killed millions of humans. We have learned to perform surgery, to replace damaged organs, to repair broken bones. We have medicines that can cure infections and treatments that can stop cancers. Cancers? Thexara asked weakly. When human cells start growing out of control and attacking healthy parts of the body, it is like having a predator inside you that is made from your own flesh. The Velthani were now making continuous scraping sounds, and several of them had moved closer together, as if seeking comfort from each other. The point, Dr. Kwan Seram said gently, is that humans have learned to survive in an environment where everything is trying to kill us. We have predators in the water, predators in the air, predators too small to see, and predators that look exactly like us. We survived ice ages that killed most other large animals, Wan Mi-young added. We survived volcanic eruptions that blocked out the sun for years. We survived asteroid impacts and massive climate changes. Ko Tawan gestured toward the Vorthak, which was still lying peacefully in its containment area. So when we look at your apex predator, we see a large cat. Dangerous, yes, but just one more predator in a world full of predators. We have been dealing with creatures like this for so long that we have developed instincts for handling them, An Ji-won said. Our ancestors survived by learning how every predator hunts, how it thinks, and how to avoid becoming its prey. Shin Yun-woo was still recording everything. In many ways, humans are the ultimate generalist species. We can live in any environment, eat almost any food, and adapt to any threat. But the most important thing, Dr. Nam Young-ho said, is that we do not just survive. We learn. Every time we encounter a new threat, we study it, understand it, and develop ways to protect ourselves and others. Bai Hyun-woo nodded in agreement. That is why we have conservation programs now instead of just hunting everything that threatens us. We learned that killing all the predators made the ecosystem unbalanced. We realized that predators serve important purposes, Lim Hieji added. They control the populations of plant-eating animals. They remove sick and weak individuals from prey species, and they help maintain the health of the entire environment. The Velthani stood in complete silence for a long time. The only sounds were the soft humming of the containment field and the distant noise of wind in the mountains. Finally, Thexara spoke, and its voice was very quiet. Your species has survived things that would destroy entire Velthani colonies. Every species survives by adapting to its environment, Dr. Kwan Seram said kindly. Your people became strong and developed advanced technology. Humans became adaptable and learned to work together. The Vorthek is still a magnificent predator, Dr. Nam Young-ho added. Thexara looked at Ko Taewon standing calmly near the containment field, then at the Vorthek, which was still peacefully grooming itself in the artificial sunlight. The contrast between the Velthani's expectations and the reality of human behavior was too great to ignore. The test is no longer necessary, Thexara said quietly. We have learned what we needed to know about your species. The other Velthani made soft sounds of agreement. Their earlier confidence had been replaced by something that looked almost like respect, mixed with a healthy amount of concern. Ambassador Kang Do-yun stepped forward. What have you learned? We believe that any species capable of joining our alliance must prove they could face our greatest fear without running away, Thexara replied. But you have shown us that our greatest fear is just another animal to you. That does not make your Vorthak less dangerous, Dr. Nam Young-ho said gently. It just means our species evolved different ways of dealing with similar threats. Thexara's 4 eyes blinked in the pattern that the humans had learned meant deep thought. How did your species become dominant on a world filled with so many dangerous creatures? We learned to work together, Do-hyun said. One human alone cannot defeat a large predator, but a group of humans with tools and coordination can handle almost any threat. We also learned to think ahead, added Ryu Jinwan. Humans spend a lot of time planning for problems that might happen in the future. We prepare for disasters, we study our enemies, and we share knowledge with each other. Captain Lee Dong-soo had just arrived from the spaceport. He was recently returned from a deep space exploration mission, and he still wore his pilot uniform. He had heard about the alien test on his communication device and come to observe. Speaking of thinking ahead, Dong-soo said, my crew and I are already planning expeditions to systems that other species consider too dangerous to explore. What kind of dangers? A Velthani asked. Systems with unstable stars, planets with extreme weather, areas of space with high radiation levels. The kind of places where most species would not risk sending their people. Thexara turned all 4 eyes toward Dong-soo. Why would you explore such places? Because that is where we might find the most interesting discoveries, Dong-soo replied, with a smile. Humans have always been curious about dangerous places. Dr. Park Yejin, the mission's chief psychologist, had been quietly observing the interaction between humans and Velthani. Now she spoke up with her professional insight. I think there is something important happening here, she said. The Velthani judge other species based on their ability to face what the Velthani consider frightening, but humans do not see the world the same way. What do you mean? Thexara asked. Humans do not see themselves as separate from their environment. We see ourselves as part of an ecosystem that includes predators, prey, diseases, natural disasters, and everything else. We learned to survive not by conquering nature, but by understanding our place in it. Technician Cho Min-jae was working on some equipment nearby. He looked up from his work and laughed. That reminds me, he said to his Velthani counterpart. We had to upgrade the security system for this facility last month. Because of the alien visitors? The Velthani asked. No, because the local bears kept trying to break into the cafeteria. They could smell the food from kilometers away. The Velthani stared at him. Bears? Large omnivorous mammals, about the size of your Vorthak but heavier. They are very intelligent and extremely strong. The ones around here are mostly harmless unless you surprise them or get between them and their food. And they tried to break into your building. 3 times last month, we had to install stronger locks and put the garbage in bear-proof containers. Kooi. Taewon grinned. That is normal for facilities in bear country. You learn to live with them. You just accept that large predators live near your buildings? Thexara asked in amazement. We designed our buildings to coexist with the local wildlife, Choi Seung-min explained. It is easier than trying to drive all the animals away. The Velthani were now making continuous low sounds that their translators interpreted as expressions of bewilderment. Let me understand, Thexara said slowly. Humans build their settlements knowing that dangerous predators will be nearby, and you consider this normal? Every environment has its challenges, Lim Hyeji replied. Desert areas have sandstorms and venomous snakes. Ocean areas have hurricanes and dangerous sea life. Mountain areas have avalanches and large mammals. You learn to work with the environment instead of fighting against it. Song Min-seok pulled out his personal communication device and showed the Velthani some pictures from his recent vacation. This is me hiking in Yellowstone National Park last month, he said. It is an area that is home to grizzly bears, wolves, mountain lions, bison, and several species of venomous snakes. The images showed Min-seok walking on trails through beautiful wilderness, with no weapons or armor visible. Millions of humans visit places like this every year for recreation, he continued. We enjoy being in wild areas with dangerous animals. For recreation? A Velthani repeated weakly. We find it relaxing, An Ji-won said. Being in nature helps humans reduce stress and improve mental health. Dr. Kwon Seram activated her projector again, this time showing images of human cities. This is Seoul, one of our largest cities, she said. 25 million people live and work there. But even in the middle of the city, we maintain parks and green spaces where wild animals can live. The images showed urban parks with trees, streams, and small animals living peacefully among the human buildings. We learned that having other species nearby makes human communities healthier and happier, she explained. Bae Hyun-woo nodded in agreement. Biodiversity is essential for stable ecosystems. Humans need other species to survive, even if some of those species are dangerous to us. Won Mi-young was looking through historical files on her computer. There is something else you should understand about humans. We have a long history of changing our minds about what we consider threats. What do you mean? Thexara asked. A few hundred years ago, humans killed most of the large predators in many areas because we thought they were too dangerous. But then we realized that removing the predators caused even bigger problems. She showed images of reforestation projects, wildlife reserves, and conservation programs. So we started programs to bring the predators back. We reintroduced wolves to areas where we had eliminated them, we protected the remaining big cats, and we learned to share space with dangerous animals again. You deliberately brought back creatures that kill humans? Avelthani asked in horror. Because we realized that losing them would cause more damage to the environment than keeping them, Dr. Nam Young-ho explained. A world without predators becomes unbalanced very quickly. Im Da-hyun was still monitoring the Vorthok in its containment area. This animal would actually be very valuable for scientific research. We could learn a lot about alien evolution by studying how it adapted to its environment. You would want to study the apex predator instead of killing it? Thexara asked. Of course. Every species has unique adaptations that could teach us something new. Killing it would waste all that potential knowledge. Captain Lee Dong-soo was checking messages on his communication device. Actually, that brings up an interesting point. My next mission is to explore a system where the planets are supposed to have extreme gravitational fields and unstable weather patterns. That sounds very dangerous, Avelthani observed. It is, Dong-soo agreed cheerfully. The gravitational effects could crush our ship. The weather could destroy our equipment, and we have no idea what kind of life forms might exist there. That is what makes it interesting. You explore dangerous places because they are dangerous? We explore dangerous places because that is where we learn the most. Safe, familiar environments do not teach us anything new. Shin Yun-woo was reviewing the footage she had recorded during the day. This has been one of the most interesting cultural exchanges I have ever documented. Two species with completely different relationships to danger and risk. What do you mean? Thexara asked. Velthani seemed to view danger as something to be overcome through strength and superior weapons. Humans view danger as something to be understood and adapted to. Yoon Subin was analyzing data from her sensors. The physiological responses are fascinating too. When the Velthani talk about their apex predator, their stress hormones increase significantly. When humans talk about the same creature, their stress levels actually decrease. That makes sense, Dr. Park Yejin said. Humans feel more comfortable when they understand a threat than when they are uncertain about it. Learning about the Vorthak made it less frightening, not more. The sun was beginning to set over the mountains, casting long shadows across the facility. The Vorthak had moved to a different part of its containment area and was now lying on one of the artificial rocks, watching the humans and aliens with lazy interest. "We must report this to the Galactic Council," Thexara said finally. "They need to understand what kind of species humans are." "What will you tell them?" Ambassador Kang Do-hyun asked. "That we have encountered something unprecedented. A species that thrives in dangerous environments not by becoming more dangerous themselves, but by becoming more adaptable. A species that treats apex predators as minor inconveniences."